Hello and welcome to another episode of Bored at the Right Time. Today we're going to discuss some of my favorite holiday movies. Well, thanks for joining me today. I just opened my box O Christmas movies and I'm going to just pull them out at random and talk about them because these are all of my favorite holiday movies. First up, put some here. First up, we have the Home Alone, not trilogy. What would a two one be called? Uh, Duology? Anyway, the first two, and the only two, in my opinion, Home Alone movies that were made. Very rarely do you ever get a sequel that's actually better than the original. And I think that's exactly what we have in Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. We have a sequel that's actually better than the original. But if you look at it, it's formulaically the same movie. You know, Kevin gets left home alone, family's somewhere else, mother has to go find him. There's this scary character that kind of helps him along the way. And then there's these two guys that are after him. So it's basically the same movie, just one's in Chicago and one is in New York. We have the movie Holiday Inn, which is a reluctant Christmas movie, if I ever saw it. Holiday Inn, the premise here is that Bing Crosby is fed up with show business and he goes and quits show business and goes to open a farm. Then he gets lonely on the farm, so then he decides to put on a show for holidays. So he turns his farm into an inn that's only open on holidays film. But this also comes with the colorized version, which I don't like it when they colorize films. They just can't ever seem to get the flesh tones right. No matter what they do, they just can't seem to get them right. But speaking of ones that I love is this one. This one is really cool. It's got like snow texture and comes in a green amaret case. And you know what's good about this is this comes with the special features. It's the making of special feature that has Phil Hartman hosting it. Now, this is a classic, but again, it's not even my favorite. Charlie Brown Christmas. And the whole premise here is that he can't pick out a Christmas tree. So anyway, this is a classic, and the soundtrack is actually more impressive than the film. Here's another two movie collection of Home Alone. This is a nicer little tiny pack. It comes all both movies in one. Santa Claus. This is a great one. You know, when I remember watching this movie in the theaters when it came out, and you know, when you're 10, 11 years old when it came out, like I was, you kind of are mystically kind of blown away with, you know, the film. You're so immersed with the film, and then you watch it as an adult, and you're kind of like, this movie's not that good. And that's kind of it. Like Tim Allen was okay in it. And then here's two copies of It's a Wonderful Life, just because they remastered it in 4K, I think, and have new special features. So what's cool about this version is it comes with that 1990 behind-the-scenes documentary that Tom Bosley narrates. And what's really cool about that is that they use source music in that. And when I was scoring my film that I made with source music, they used the same song. So all of a sudden I'm watching this thing and in the background I hear the theme. It just blew my mind that, you know, my little film could have a connection with It's a Wonderful Life. So this is a great film. This is a long film. And, you know, Frank Capra is very good at making these types of films. Kind of films with messages. This is the original Miracle on 34th Street, as far as I'm concerned, the only one that exists. And again, I think this is colorized, but you know, who needs a colorized version? This is cool because it has an audio commentary by Maureen O'Hara, who recently passed away. I think in the last 5 years, she was like 95 or something. And so this has an audio commentary, and then it also has a behind-the-scenes making of from AMC. So this is, if you ever needed a reason why Natalie Wood is such a great actress, you have it. And then we have the movie Elf. Of course, everybody loves this film. In fact, I'm a huge Bob Newhart fan, so the fact that he plays Papa Elf, have met Bob Newhart numerous times. He is the kindest, most dearest celebrity you'll ever want to meet or ever meet. Um, just a great, great man. Okay, and then we have Christmas in Connecticut, which has been remade a couple times, I think, but this is the original. And so basically, Barbara Stanwyck plays a Martha Stewart type that writes a newspaper or a magazine column about cooking and housekeeping and all this other stuff. And everyone thinks that she's this masterful cook and housekeeper and, Martha Stewart type. And all of a sudden, her publisher makes her entertain this war hero played by Dennis Morgan. And so anyway, she's got to, get a farm, get a husband, get a baby, all the things that she lied about in her column, and to entertain and fool the serviceman and her publisher, so she doesn't get fired. And hilarity ensues. It's actually a really good movie. And then the last two movies that I watch literally 15, 20 times a year. I just can't get enough of them. This is the metal box of A Christmas Story. I never really liked this film, but then I watched it, and I mean, Darren McGavin as the father, he is just so funny, and just sort of the hilarity that happens around Christmas time. And then, just because it's so good, I have 2 copies of it. Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Hey, with 2, same artwork, but 2 different DVDs, or Blu-rays, I should say. So I think this was one of those cases where I couldn't find it, so I just bought it because it was $8. So now I have 2 copies of it. But what can be said about this movie that hasn't been said before? There's so many, funny things in here. I mean, you get the Randy Quaid. He comes back as Cousin Eddie. You have Bill Murray's brother, Brian Doyle Murray, in it. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is the yuppie neighbor. And of course, you have Beverly D'Angelo and Johnny Galecki. Juliette Lewis. Sorry, I had to read the back. I couldn't think of her name that fast. Juliette Lewis. And then, of course, you have the ubiquitous Chevy Chase. I mean, he's made for this role. And the more you watch the film, the more kind of inside jokes that you see. So, like, he cut the tree and sap everywhere, and then he's flipping through the magazine and it's getting stuck. And then the lamp gets stuck to him. And, it's just classic in my opinion. So there's a movie called The Shop Around the Corner, and that is a film that's directed by Ernst Lubitsch that has the Lubitsch touch. It's not campy, I would say it's sentimental maybe. So basically what happens is this is the film that You've Got Mail is based upon. So these 2 people work together and they really can't stand each other's guts, but they happen to be each other's secret pen pals and they don't know it. So Jimmy Stewart is in it, and he finds out that he's this woman's pen pal that he can't stand. And so he kind of changes. He has a change of heart. And then on Christmas Eve, he kind of lets her know, and, love ensues. They become madly in love and live happily ever after. And, what's really weird about this is that it takes place in, where does it take? Hungary. It takes place in Budapest, Hungary. With a name like Ernst Lubitsch, you better be Hungarian. But so I mean, he could have, made it take place in L.A., whatever. But they kind of don't speak Hungarian, but they have the money. So like pengo. Oh, I made 15 pengo this month. It's almost like, why not just say dollars? Who would even notice? But yeah. So Shop Around the Corner is a fantastic movie. That's another long one, and I'm not a huge fan of Jimmy Stewart. I tolerate him, but he's good in this one. And Frank Morgan, who plays the wizard in The Wizard of Oz, he's in this film too. And I think he has a mustache, so it's kind of weird. seeing him like that. And this is, I think, made the same year as The Wizard of Oz, 1939, but you can't quote me on that. Now, the last film I want to talk about is one of my ultimate favorites, and this is called It Happened on Fifth Avenue. Now, this film just kind of came into my consciousness by accident. I bought one of those like 4-pack of Christmas movies, and I was like, oh, these 3 movies are great, and I've never heard of this one. So I watched it one day, and it actually is kind of cool. What the premise is a World War II vet gets kicked out of his house in New York City so that this rich guy named Michael J. O'Connor can build a skyscraper. So he's homeless, and he meets this other homeless guy who basically lives in other people's houses while they're not there. Okay, so he's an interloper. And he happens to live in Michael J. O'Connor's house when he goes down from New York to Virginia in the wintertime. So the house is boarded up, there's no one there. So this guy lives there. He sneaks in every year. And so he he takes a liking to Jim, this this homeless vet, brings him to the house. And then, long story short, the daughter of Michael J. O'Connor goes missing, and she comes back to the house, and they think that she's just a homeless person too that broke in, and she falls for Jim. And it's a really good story. This is like the Die Hard of Christmas movies, if you will, because it, for the most part, most of it takes place at Christmas time or Christmas Eve, and then New Year's Eve, I think. But it's not a Christmas movie per se. But it really is just one of those heartwarming. It's like a Frank Capra kind of. Everyone comes through at the end, and even the Ebenezer Scrooge, Michael J. O'Connor, gets a second chance at being a good guy. And yeah, so those are my Christmas movies in a nutshell. I'm sorry this episode was a little longer, but I do love these films. These are some of my favorite films, especially the older ones. And I really do enjoy watching them year after year. And now that they've been released on Blu-ray, it's even more fun because the quality is just impeccable. It looks like a new Hollywood film, just in black and white. So the grain it has a beautiful grain. Most of these films look fantastic. So anyway, happy holidays, and thanks again for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love, 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 love if you would like and subscribe. And if you want to leave a comment, I do try to reply to all comments that aren't spam, and or just give a thumbs up. But that would make my day too. So have a great holiday season, and take care of yourselves.